Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to graph linear inequalities. When we're graphing inequalities, there's a couple things that you could have happen. You can get a greater than sign, or a sign facing the y. You can get a less than sign, or something facing away from the y. You can get a greater than or equal to sign facing the y. And you can get a less than or equal to sign which would face away from the y. If you get a less than or greater than sign, what you want to think about is when you're graphing on a number line, you have open circles and solid circles. This sign right here means you're going to have open circles because of the fact that things are not included. So since you have open circles, that means that this line is going to be dotted because it's hard to really draw open circles. So this line would be dotted and this line would be dotted. These lines over here, because they're equal to, are solid circles, so you just get to draw a solid line. So you got to draw a solid line. If you ever get a greater than sign, that means y is bigger, or the values you should pick are above the line. So whenever I see these signs, that means y is bigger, so I should go above the line. Whenever I have y is smaller, because it's facing away from the line, I'm going to go below. Let's try to graph a couple of examples and see how this really works. So in this example, I have a greater than sign, or the sign is facing the y. So I can see that I'm going to start by graphing the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is up here at positive 1. And then I'm going to graph the slope, which the slope is rise over run. So the rise is 2, 1, 2, and the run is 1, 2, 3. And so since we have a greater than sign, we're going to dot the line. So dot, 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 dot. And down 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. So my other point's kind of down here. So we're just going to keep dotting. So I've now drawn the dots of my line, and because it's greater than, the line would be shaded above. So that is what my line would look like. It's greater than, so I shade above. I start with my y-intercept, I go with my slope up 2 and over 3. Let's do one more example. We can see in this example we've changed some things around. This time I have a less than or equal to sign. My y-intercept this time is -2. My slope is -1 over 3. So let's start by graphing the first point, which would be at -2. Then I'm going to go up, or I'm going to go down because I have a -1 over 3. So I'm going to go down 1 and to the right 1, 2, 3. And I can do this the other way. I can go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3. Now I have this line. This time I'm going to draw a solid line because we have the line underneath, which means it's equal to, or solid dots. And I'm going to shade above or below this time because it's facing away from the y. So it means the y is smaller, or it gets shaded below. And that's how I would graph linear inequalities. The last thing that we could quickly talk about is if it's not in this case, or not in this form. So sometimes the lines will not be in this form. So let's say we've been given this equation, and we'd like to graph it. Well, let's change this equation to an inequality since we've been talking about inequalities. So I'm going to change this equal sign, and let's make it a greater than sign. So let's say we've been given this inequality. Now this thing is in standard form. And we can't graph things in standard form easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch it. We're going to switch it into y equals, or slope-intercept form. So we're going to switch it in slope-intercept form, which means I need to solve for y, get y all by itself. So my first thing is I'm going to move the x over. That's going to give me 3y is greater than 2x plus 9. Then I'm going to divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. And I'm going to get y is greater than 2/3 x plus 3. And now this is something that we can graph. So the big thing is, if you ever get something in standard form, you need to solve for y so that you can get into slope-intercept form to graph it. Try some of the graphs today.